A look at Huff Hall on the campus of the University of Illinois, a very tranquil winter scene, and the site of women's gymnastics this afternoon. The Fighting Illini will take on the Gym Hawks, the Hawkeyes of the University of Iowa. Hello, everybody, and welcome to Champaign. I'm Mike Lederman, together with Olympic medalist and Michigan All-American Elise Ray. It has been an exceptional 2011 early season for the Big Ten. Not only is the conference making its mark nationally, but Elise, you only have to look to last week's results to see how the competition within the conference is tightening up. Michigan gets beaten by Iowa.
Yes, huge upset and a huge win for Iowa. It marks their first win against the Wolverines in 11 attempts and Michigan's first loss of the season.
Larissa Libby, the Iowa coach, was an assistant in Iowa City the last time the Wolverines were beaten by Iowa, so you can see how long that's been. It's been about since 2004, 2005. And 195 for Iowa is almost more important to them than the victory.
Yes, that's a big team score, especially for only the fourth meet into the season. So, as all the coaches say, they hope to increase the team score every competition. So if they keep doing that, they're on the right track.
All right, another upset, unless you're a Buckeyes fan. Ohio State taking on Illinois last week in Columbus and tying. Last year, well, 2 years ago, the Illini were in the national finals. Ohio State could barely get through the season, and a tie, well, pretty good for Ohio State.
It's excellent for Ohio State, and it's actually excellent for both teams. They posted a 195-3-5, which is a huge team score again. And though seemingly anticlimactic, it's really a great feat for both teams because of their season-high score.
Especially with all the injuries Ohio State had last year. This year, a very deep freshman class, as well as some rehabbing upperclassmen, and the scores are showing great improvement. Minnesota, well, the Golden Gophers are doing pretty well, too.
Yes, they had a win against Michigan State last weekend. They've suffered a loss from Ohio State, but we're seeing wins, losses against different schools than last year in the conference, which is also very exciting.
And Penn State, well, it's been a little bit difficult for the Nittany Lions. They've got a new coach this year. Jeff and Rochelle Thompson are coaching. Jeff and Rochelle coming over from Auburn, and Penn State trying to make its mark.
They are, and they suffered the loss of Brandy Personette, their Big Ten champion, and also new coaching staff. Has to be hard to adapt to the first couple of meets, but start a little slow, but hopefully they'll pick it up. There's still a few meets before the conference championship.
And we'll show you how deep the Big Ten is as we take a look at the national rankings. Florida leading off, but the Big Ten with 6 teams in the top 25, headed by the Wolverines. They're still right up there. And then Iowa, number 2 in the Big Ten in the conference. Minnesota, Illinois, Ohio State, Penn State, and Michigan State outside the top 25. Well, we'll have lots more to come here. We've got live gymnastics action for you. Stay tuned. We'll be back with more on the Big Ten Network. Back live on the U of I campus, time for women's gymnastics. The Fighting Illini go against the Hawkeyes at the University of Iowa. Okay, Elise, we've got a lot of people we want to spotlight. 3 all-arounders on each team, 2 seniors and a junior. Well, let's start with the Iowa Hawkeyes and Hori Gabishian.
3 big reasons why the Iowa Hawkeyes upset the Michigan Wolverines last weekend. Senior Hori Gabishian.
Actually, that was Allison Buckley of the University of Illinois. Let's talk about Hori for a second, because she has been a wonderful gymnast for the Hawkeyes for quite a while. As a senior this
Here's
year.
Hori Gabishian, the defending Big Ten balance beam champion, where she performed a near-perfect routine, scoring a 9.5. Senior Rebecca Zimbudes placed 4th in the all-around Big Ten championship last year. Career high score on the bars last weekend at Michigan. Junior Jessa Hansen competed for the Hawkeyes in the all-around every competition last season.
Well, if Allison Buckley wanted to get on camera quickly, there's a good reason why. She is a 2-time All-American. She's having an outstanding year. Talk about the senior Allison Buckley.
And she had a great meet last weekend against Ohio State. She won the vault and the all-around title last weekend at Ohio State, and she tallied season best scores on all 4 events.
Melissa Fernandez, another senior, and she is coming back from injury.
And another All-American, won the title on the uneven bars at Ohio State last weekend and placed 2nd in the all-around right behind Allison Buckley.
And the junior, Kelsey Joannidis, she has been a very pleasant surprise after an outstanding freshman year and a so-so sophomore year, she's doing well.
She's having an outstanding season so far, has not scored anything lower than a 39 in all of her competition, and is a regular on the podium in every competition.
Both teams are marching in, and they'll be warming up. We'll be back. We'll have live gymnastics action for you right here, so stay tuned. Teams just about set through their warm-ups. They will be opening up on the bars and vault, as is traditional. Let's take a look at the lineups for both teams as you look at the Gym Hawks of the Iowa Hawkeyes. On the uneven bars, start off with the freshman Tesla Cox, and they'll finish with the all-arounder Jessica Hansen for Larissa Libby's Gym Hawks. As you take a look at Ori Gabishan as they continue the warm-up here. And on the vault, the Illini will look to the senior on the left, Allison Buckley. We'll start off with Elise Gill, who's really rounding into form. Then Kentucky Fernandez, Kelsey Joannidis, the other all-arounder, the freshman Amber C., and finally Allison Buckley. Earlier, we talked to both coaches about how they see the progress of their team so far in 2011.
It's been a good start for us. We started slow at Michigan State and have progressed each meet. The goal for us was to not go backwards. And so coming off a big win last week, it's just a confidence thing. I think the difference for us is just walking into meets with a different mentality this year. Having beaten Michigan, the mystery of everything has kind of gone away. And so you leave that behind you and focus on another really, really strong team in Illinois. I mean, we don't ever take anybody for granted.
After 3 weeks, every meet we've seemed to be building. On the previous meet, we've gone into the gym and really worked on small details and go out on the competition floor, and it seems like it's really paid off. Every meet's been an improvement, so if we keep that up, we'll be on a steady pace to where we want to be.
There you have it. Both teams' head coaches satisfied with their team, but not too satisfied, Elise. There's Larissa Libby, she herself an Olympic gymnast for Canada, and Kim Landris in her first year as head coach of the Illini. They call her the interim head coach, but certainly eminently qualified. And here is Larissa, and she is in her 7th season. Now, who are those guys? Well, it is Gym Jam Day. It is a dual, as they say. The men's teams from both schools are competing as well, and we will bring that to you on the Big Ten Network subsequently. So it is gymnastics times 2. That'll be on next Saturday with the men. Good crowd. There's lots of food around, too. And, you know, when there's free food and good gymnastics,
everybody shows up.
Hey, I can't beat that combination.
Great energy in this arena tonight already, and the competition hasn't begun, but you can feel the heat, feel the energy.
You can definitely feel the heat. It is a warm Huff Hall. First look at our first competitor, Elise Gill, the sophomore from Minnesota, engineering major. And let's see what she can engineer for her ball.
Front entry, handspring, front pike, nice landing. Good solid start for Illinois.
Elise has gone 9-7 for a score for her best. And a nice start for her.
Here's that front entry, 2 feet on the board. Nice block, see her height off the horse. Not as difficult of a vault as we'll see later, but very clean and nicely performed. Very
important to get that first event over with and certainly set the table for the rest of the lineup. Here is the freshman Tesla Cox. She is from South Carolina, business major. She starts on the bars.
Nice mount there from low bar to high bar. Some pirouetting, straight to a big release move. See her transition to the low bar, pack salto, a lot of big moves in this bar routine so far. And it's the first one up, a testament to what we'll see later. More pirouetting right into a dismount, double tuck, stuck landing.
Good solid start for both schools. And the freshman Tesla Cox, a 3-time state champion in South Carolina. Here it is in slow-mo.
Here we see that pirouetting. It's a giant full straight into this dismount, which you'll get combination bonus for. And coming into these meets, all those landings, those tenths add up, make the difference.
There's Elise Gill. You saw her a moment ago, and for her vault score, 9.65, below her best, but not a bad start. And next up, the sophomore Jacqueline Kantecki from Bridgeview, suburban Chicago, Queen of Peace High School psychology major.
So they'll want to build on that 9.65 from here on out. Yurchenko full, upping the difficulty.
Jacqueline Kantecki, here she is again.
Here's that round off entry, going backwards onto the horse. You can see her clean form on the way off. Just that step on the landing. As I said before, all those steps are gonna make the difference in the team score tonight.
Kantecki, we'll get her score in a minute. And you're looking at Tesla Cox, 9.725 for Cox. And next up for Iowa, the senior Ariel Suzic from Western New York. Interesting story for Ariel. She has got medical conditions that make it hard to stabilize her biology, but when she's in good shape, she's in good shape.
This is a big bar routine. She started off with a big mount and leaves her big release move for the end of her bar routine, which isn't typically the case. Shows her strength as an athlete. Double back with a full twist, dismount.
Ariel Suzic, 5'4", communications major. And again, she has had a very up and down year, but this was a good up right here for her.
Here's that big release, a ginger. You can see how high she gets above the bar. The judges look for that. And a big dismount here. Two giants lead up to a double back with a full twist. You can see how she rises above the high bar. Again, the judges will take that into account.
There's a look at Jacqueline Kantecki. Her vault, 9.75, a season's best for her. And here, one of the seniors and All-American for Illinois, Melissa Fernandez. And Melissa, who's been battling leg injuries, she seems a lot healthier, she said, this week. And here she is on her vault.
See her do that round off entry. Yurchenko full again. Interesting view from the end of the horse. She's a little bit crooked coming off. The judges will take off a little bit that. You want to land straight behind the horse, but her form was clean and she rose well above the horse. You can see how strong and powerful she is coming back into the horse. Watch her rise. Way up off. Little leg separation.
It's her weakest event, but she has been building up 9.7 for the high so far this season, and she's hoping to do better than that. Melissa Fernandez, again, a key all-arounder. Here's Ariel Suzic, her score. Good bars for her, 9.75, a season high for Ariel. And next up, Emma Stevenson. She's a sophomore with senior leadership. Larissa Living loves her ability to motivate others. Let's see how she does on the bars.
She's a tall gymnast, and it will really show in her lines and the way she swings on bars. It's lovely to see on this event. Big release move there, a piked Jaeger. Right into a transition to the low bar where she lands in handstand, which increases the difficulty. So far, looking very clean. Big dismount, double layout.
Emma Stevenson, physiology major from Winfield, Illinois.
Here she is getting back up to the high bar. And these handstands are very, very critical. The judges will take off if you're not completely vertical. And they are sitting on the side, which makes them able to see it very precisely.
Melissa Fernandez, that is a season high for her, 9.75 on the vault as she continues to build up that event for her. And here, Kelsey Joannides, the junior from suburban Frederick, Maryland. All-arounder, rebounding in a good junior year.
Wow, that was nice. You can see from the back how she lands straight in the middle of the table. And the judges noticed, and she didn't take any steps. That was a wonderful vault.
Kelsey Joannidis, business major, all business here.
She is very precise on this vault, coming off right in the center, legs together, toes pointed. Watch her landing. Let's take a look from the back and see how straight she is. And this will differentiate where the gymnast place in the end.
We'll have Kelsey's score in a minute. And here is Emma's score on the uneven bars. Very good for her, a season best, 9.80. And Hori Gabijan, wonderful to watch. Suburban Boston is where she's from, Newton, Massachusetts. And she has built up this event for her. It used to be her weakest. Now they call her the heart of the bars team.
There's some pirouetting, a blind change into her first big release. Pike Jaeger. There are those clean handstands I was referring to, and especially right there, you see it. It really sets apart each individual gymnast by how well they can control those handstands. Big dismount here, double back, full out, and stuck landing. No question there whether or not that was stuck.
And assistant coach Liz Gaveka gives her the big hug, the high 10. And let's show some of the release moves.
Oh, it's so interesting to see the handwork here. Look at the complete release of the bar, a full flip and a recatch. The gymnasts all have dowels in their grips. You want to get those dowels way over the bar in order to catch that release. Helps a lot. Let's look at this nearly perfect dismount, how much she rises above the bar, twists, boom, no steps.
Oh, you know she's happy with that. She tweaked her ankle last week. Didn't seem to bother her on that. Joannidis' score, 9.85 on the vault. Again, that is a season high for Kelsey. Here is one of the freshmen for Illinois, Amber C. from Minnetonka, Minnesota. Journalism major already, and she is breaking into the lineup her first year.
I saw Amber warming this vault up. This is a very, very exciting vault. Take a look at this. A front entry, handspring front with a full twist. A little bit off the mat there. That can happen when you twist a little bit early.
Well, she might have been a little amped up. They were getting ready to see if she would get into the rotation. She finally made it, and you know she's psyched right here.
You can see her front entry starts her flip, then starts her twist, and she travels just a little bit in the direction that she's twisting. That is a very, very difficult vault, though, and performed very nicely.
I'm sorry, Elise, what's the deduction for going? They consider that going off the mat, or did she hold it long enough? If you look at Gabijan's score, 9.875.
They'll take the deductions in the steps. Take into account that she was off the mat, but it shouldn't be too detrimental on her score.
That ties Gabijan's best. Here is Rebecca Sambudis, another senior from Ontario.
That was a nice move right there. 2 in a row, actually. A toe shoot to a pirouette, and she's off on her big release move.
Not the way Iowa wanted to start.
She's going to take this time here at the chalkboard. The gymnasts only have 30 seconds to re-chalk. Here's that first toe shoot into her toe shoot blind change. She came off just a little bit early on the release, so wasn't able to get her full hand around the bar.
And that's a 5/10.
She's going to regroup here. She's experienced. She'll be able to pull it back together, but that's a tough one for the Hawkeyes.
And of course, you don't count one score, so if all goes well for the Hawkeyes, this score won't count, but certainly they were expecting a big number from Rebecca that they're not going to get.
Beautiful toe shoot full into a direct double pike. You know she's disappointed there. All this pirouetting from Rebecca is just gorgeous, and it's very unique. There's that double back, but in a piked position, a little bit more difficulty than just the double tuck.
Rebecca getting some consolation from Marissa Libby, and there, Kim Landris, the interim coach at Illinois, and Amber C. Her score 9.675. This is really her first entry into the vault routine, into the vault lineup. Now, here is Buckley, Allison Buckley.
They need a big score from Allison Buckley right now. We're seeing some 9.7s, some 9.6s. They need a big score right here from their All-American.
She's won more titles on this event than any other in her career.
Beautiful vault, as always, from Allison. Kind of a big step on the landing there. They'll take We'll take a deduction for that. You can see how powerful she is coming into the horse. Look at her rise. You can also see how straight her body position is as she twists. We'll see how straight she is. Again, a testament to really, really good technique that she's so straight. Just a beautiful position as she's twisting.
Allison, a first-team All-American on the vault a year ago. And Rebecca Simbutis, 9150 after the fall on the uneven bars. And she has not been competing on that all that much this season. But as an all-arounder, of course, she's got to pick that up. And Jessa Hansen, the junior, another all-arounder from near the Des Moines area of Clive, Iowa. She and Sean Johnson, the Olympic gymnast, trained together and are good friends.
There's some pirouetting. Here's her big release. Straddle Jaeger. Little trouble there, kipping right out of that big swing. That'll cost her a couple tenths. And it also cost her a full handstand into that shoot over. She lacked a little swing into it. This dismount's going to be very important, especially the landing of it. Double layout, full twist. Biggest dismount of the afternoon so far, as we've seen. Here's that release, and she barely catches it. She's on her fingertips there, and you can see she has to re-grip in order to kip out.
Could have been a lot worse for Iowa if that had been a second fall.
Dismount.
Yeah.
Double layout, full out, beautiful.
Jessa Hansen, her routine. Allison Buckley now, her score on the vault. Take a look at her. Not the way
the Iowa Hawkeyes wanted to start their first event, but as you can see Libby there giving a little pep talk. It's going to be important coming into their next event to really hit everything. Details, landings.
And Allison Buckley, 9.80 on the vault, which is a little low for her. And we'll just wait for Jessa Hansen's mark on the uneven bars. Good look at Jessa, journalism, mass communications major at Illinois on the first round, 48.825, a season high on the vault. So a good event for the Illini. We'll see how the Hawkeyes do. A 9.50 for Jessa Hansen.
You can tell they took off a couple tenths there for that missed kip right out of her big release. Probably about 2 or 3 tenths for it.
Hansen ranks 11th on the event in the Big Ten. Has gone 9.825, a little bit less today. 9.50 for Jessa. Okay, the teams will switch events. We'll be back in just a minute. Rotation number 2 coming up. We're live at Champaign. Welcome back to Champaign. It's 30 minutes dedicated to the world of Big Ten women's athletics, the kind of coverage you can't get anywhere else. The Big Ten Women's Show, presented by Pure Silk, Thursday at 6 p.m. Eastern, here on the Big Ten Network. Mike Liederman, Elise Ray, as we are through rotation number 1, and they will switch. Iowa will go to the vault. Illinois head to the uneven bars. The Illini's vault results. And the leader, Kelsey Joannides, the junior, with a 9.85 and a good rotation for the team as a whole. As we told you, a season's best, 48.825. Iowa, meanwhile, did pretty well considering they had a fall that they didn't have to count. There are the results with Gabesian, 9.875. Emma Stevenson following, the sophomore, 9.80, and Suzic, 9.75. But you see Simbutis is 9.15 because of the fall. That won't count. And they still came in 48.650. It's a lot of decimal places, but it'll make more sense as we get further into the rotations. Let's take a look at the uneven bars from Hori Gabesian.
And they needed this big score from her, and she really came through. Look at this big release and a strong catch. Her handstands are really what makes her set herself apart on this event, because she hits them all so precisely, which she doesn't get any deduction for the handstands here. Watch it right here, completely vertical. And her big dismount, and as we saw, no steps on the landing. Double back, full twist, knows just where she is to put that landing gear down.
You know, you're supposed to smile on the dismount, but she truly had reason to smile. That tied her career best. She had been working so hard on the bars over the summer, put in a new routine, new release moves, new dismount.
And you would never know. It used to be one of her weakest events. It's just done beautifully now. Testament to her hard work.
Of course, we'll see a lot more of her. And here for Illinois, here's Kelsey Joannades.
You can see why this was the highest scoring vault for Illinois. Her height off the horse, her precision in her twist, and then her great landing. She's straight on that mat. You can actually see the seam of the mat and her feet left and right, one on either side of that line.
All right. Next, we go to rotation number 2 as the teams are warming up, and they obviously will switch events. Illinois will head to the uneven bars, and Iowa will go to the vault. Interesting talking to Larissa Libby. You look at her roster, and it's basically unchanged from a year ago, but she said they are different people. So they totally rededicated themselves. And she said that's easy to say, but they were in the gym all through the summer. Everybody trained. They went to a new physical training program, and you could see the results.
And as we know, the strength training and conditioning is just a crucial part of the gymnast's health, keeping their bodies in shape to prevent injury, and also in shape to do the incredible skills that they do.
And both assistant coaches broke down all the injuries that they had and tried to figure out a new way to train. And they did go into different training, different types of diet. And hey, they finished third at the Big Ten Championships last season, which was a good way to build. You know, fell off in regionals. But here they are, they're second in the conference, and they're doing it, again, with much the same lineup. Okay, Larissa Libby has joined us. Larissa, after one rotation, a little bit of a bump there from Rebecca. What'd that do to the morale?
Nothing.
I love it.
You never have morale problems. You know, it unfortunately is gymnastics. It happens, and that's the thing with a team like ours and what we've been trying to teach them all year. You can't always rely on your hitters. Rebecca's a hitter, Jessa, Hori. You can't always rely on them. You have to be able to get the job done regardless. So I was really pleased that Jessa got up. She had a mishap too, but she didn't drop off the bar. But, you know, it's one event. There's still 3 more to go. Everybody's got to go to beam. You just keep digging and digging and digging and see what happens in the end.
All right, Larissa, thanks very much. Go get them. 7th-year coach Larissa Libby of the University of Iowa. And she herself an Olympic gymnast. We told you back in 1988 for Canada. And there's the Illini huddle. And we're getting ready for rotation 2. It'll be really interesting to see how this all shakes out in terms of the training and the revisions. And
the same team, but I guess a little bit of a different team in a sense that they're revamping everything, and so far seems to be working. These girls look great, in shape, strong.
This is the freshman Maya Wickus warming up as they go. There's a 3.5-minute warm-up before each event.
And on vault they get 2, so they can go over the horse twice. Typically you take a timer, which is just an easier version of your competition vault, and then actually do one of your competition vaults. Again, it's warm up, so you're working out the tweaks just to remind yourself you can do it.
Rebecca.
Getting out some of the nerves too is the purpose of this touch.
Buddhis, who needs to come back strong, and she's warming up there.
And see that fall there, she's just going to shake it off. She's just getting her body through the motions again. She'll be on her feet in the competition. I'm sure she's disappointed about bars. She's very, very experienced athlete, a tremendous athlete. She'll come back strong.
And let's take a look at the vault lineup now for the University of Iowa. Susic, the senior, will lead it off, and Simbutis will anchor in between the other all-arounder Jessa Hansen, Annie Sikowski, Gabijan, the freshman Wickus, and there's Rebecca. As you look at Ariel Susic, Ariel, we told you, communication major, and she will be looking to top her 9.850 personal best. And Illinois will be on the bars.
This time sometimes is so hard to just wait.
And the bars will be anchored by Fernandez and Buckley, the two All-Americans.
Just itching to get up in the event, itching to show your stuff and your...
Well, you know, the Illini bars have been really a problem. They lost their two best bars workers, or two of the best bars workers, to graduation last season. So they are ranked last in the conference for now, but trying to build that up. Okay, we're going to the vault. Here's Ariel Susic of Iowa.
She comes around off entry. Yurchenko full. They're excited with that vault. You see this vault a lot in collegiate competition, so you really have to look for, again, where they're landing on the mat, the height off the horse. As we can see, she's a little bit crooked coming off the horse. And that's because she's just twisting a little bit early off the apparatus. Bounces back with a pretty large step there, but not bad. Not bad for their first vault.
Susic, the senior for Iowa, in the leadoff or honor position. Now over to the uneven bars, Alina Weinstein, New Jersey sophomore. She was a state champion on this event. And her start, that's where the men's floor routine will take place, because we've got the double duel going. So we need to extend the runway for the bars a bit, and she needs it. Watch this mount.
She mounts from the high bar, so again, they had set up a little extra running room for her to make sure she gets to the bar. There's her pirouetting. That's a great view to see how straight she is, how quick her hands move. Nice release and catch. Hack salto to the low bar. There's that vertical handstand, vertical pirouetting that we're looking for. It's going to separate the gymnasts and score. Beautiful pirouetting, straight and vertical, right to a double back. Stuck landing.
Oh, she liked that one. Jay Santos, the assistant coach, did too. So did the rest of the Illini.
Watch her pirouetting here. Right in handstand, toes are together, rises above the high bar, and gets the landing.
A hug from Amy Cruz, the assistant coach for Alina. Ariel Susic, we saw her and her vault score 9.70. And next up will be Jessa Hansen, who had a disappointing 9.5 on the bars. But here she is, the second in her all-around events.
This is also a very, very impressive vault. Watch the entry, front entry. Nicely done, nicely done. Instead of round-offing onto the board, which is sort of a half twist and then backward flipping on, she does a front handspring onto the board. We'll see it in replay. Stays forward. Watch her front entry, front handspring onto the board. Stays forward, blocks off the horse to a flip in a pike position. Not an easy vault, I assure you.
She's been working on her on the ball. It has not been her best event, but now she is certainly putting some more work into it. Alina Weinstein, 9.75. Good start for Illinois on the uneven bars. Very competitive meet so far. Illinois knows it's in for a fight. Next, I'm sorry.
They're finally at home. They've been on the road so much, so they just are relishing in this familiar arena. Their home crowd must feel really, really good for them.
A very nice crowd today. Both sides of Huff Hall got very few empty seats, so it'll be a good home opener, if you will, for the University of Illinois. There's some other activity again going up on the floor as among the men as the women are ready to go. It's one thing to share a gym, so everybody's got to accommodate.
You can see they're going to unfold that panel mat there to even out the surface. They don't want her stepping into a dip or tripping or anything like that, so smooth it out for a nice jump to the high bar.
see Joannity's strong vault score. Here she is on the bars, which has traditionally been her weakest event.
Kelsey just has tremendous form and lines. Her legs are together, her toes are pointed, it just extends all the way through her body. It's beautiful to watch. There's a nice release there, back up to the high bar. Dismount coming up right here. Double layout, they're nailing these landings on bars.
Now that'll work.
It's gonna add up. All those tenths add up. We're gonna see here the release again, toe shoot, way back up to that harbor. There's a lot of body movement going on, a lot of strength to get swing out of that. You can see the rise above the high bar. You can see those feet do not move.
Strong routine for Kelsey Joannides. We'll have that score in a minute. Meanwhile, Jessa Hansen score 9-7-2-5 on the ball for Jessa. And here is Annie Sikowski, our first look at her from Reno, Nevada, and she majors in journalism and mass communications. And
so she's trying to build off the 2 9-7s that were before her. Yurchenko full, you can see how straight she is with those 2 lines on the mat. She's happy with it.
Annie Sikowski.
Let's look at her accuracy here from behind the horse. It's nice and tight back into the horse. Nice block off the table. You can see how tight she is in her twist. Lands right behind that table.
And there's Annie's first event. Annie Sikowski. Kelsey Joannides, we saw her a moment ago with what looked like a very strong bars performance. We're just waiting for that score. Joannides, the 9.65. The scores come in. And once again, I think we're waiting for the men to finish floor routine before we go into the next women's uneven bars category. And that will be from the freshman Sarah Fiedler, who mom was a gymnast at Indiana, and she will be competing on the uneven bars. You can see the men behind as they're setting up the runway. You can see the men behind you. You could have seen a moment ago the floor exercise on the men's side going on. That's really exciting when you've got a dual. You don't know where to look. We'll stick with the women right now as Jay Santos talks to Sarah Fiedler, gets her ready for the uneven bars. All right, now we're set. Kim Landry says Sarah's learning college. She's learning to adjust to the college routine, being a part of a team as opposed to an individual gymnast, and coming along.
There's that mount to the high bar. Quick hop change. Nice release and catch there. Good, very smooth in this routine. You can see a couple little form breaks in her legs and toes. All of that will be noticed by the judges and taken into account. Double layout. Illinois is doing a great job with these landings tonight. Kim was talking about the details. This must be one of the details they were referring to. Here's a release to the low bar. She was a little bit shy of her vertical handstand. And her dismount here. Those giants are to gain up the speed and power for it. 2 flips in a stretched body position.
And we'll have Sarah's score in a minute. And we go back to the vault, and Annie Sikowski, 9.725. Best she's done this young season so far. And here is Hori Gabishan. You saw her strong bars performance, 9.875 here on the vault. She has gone for a score of 9.85.
Hori is an extremely powerful gymnast, as we'll see right here.
Oh, yes.
Oh, she fights for that stuck landing. I don't know if they'll give it to her. She stepped out just a little bit, but she was fighting for it, that's for sure.
Gabesian from Newton, Massachusetts. She likes it, the team likes it. Here it is again.
You can watch her power coming into the horse. She actually looked like she was a little bit high on, just landed just a tad bit short, and fights until the very end.
Well, we'll see what the judges say. Good effort from her. Sarah Fiedler on the uneven bars, 9.725. As she continues to build, that was a point, almost a point better than her previous best. Jacqueline Kentucky next up. Sophomore from Bridgeview, Illinois.
She mounts from the low bar. There's her first release, back up to the high bar. Just pirouetting, giant full. Love that release move. You don't see it too often. It's so clean, it's so high, and again, it's unique. It's great to see. Only her dismount left. Nice, double back, full twist. Just a little bounce there on the landing. Not sure what the judges will do with the little bounce. Her feet did not move. As you can see here, it's very, very solid. She rises above the bar, has enough time to see the floor as it's coming. A little hop, they'll take for that little hop. Otherwise, great routine.
For Jacqueline Kentucky and Gabesian, who's #1 in the conference on this apparatus. Check it on the vault, 9.70 for Hori Gabesian. And here is a sophomore transfer, Maya Wickus. She was at Auburn, came over from there where she was a 4-time state vault champion in high school. Working on a sore ankle, here she goes with her vault.
She's doing a Yurchenko entry also, and a full with only a step there. She was having a little bit of trouble in warm-up, figuring out the vault, going over the horse. You never would have known it by that.
Wickus from Port Washington, Wisconsin.
This is a very nice looking vault. Coaches there just in case. Pretty clean, a little pike down. The judge will take for that. She steps outside that white line, meaning she twists just a little bit off the horse. You can see slight form breaks, but she gets it around and finishes.
Maya Wickus breaking into the lineup as a transfer. Kentucky, 9.775 for her routine on the uneven bars.
Lots of 9.7s across the board from both teams this second rotation. Looking to break into those 9.8s coming up here.
And here is Melissa Fernandez. She just lights up a room when she competes.
She won this event last weekend at Ohio State. Free hip to a beautiful handstand. Huge release. Notice how high she went above that bar. Pirouetting right into her shoot over handstand. Ooh, fights for that handstand. Back to the high bar, dismount to go. These landings are crucial. Double layout, full out. Itty bitty step on that landing.
Well, Fernandez is back. She says she's healthy. She tweaked her ankle a couple of weeks ago to go with the other ankle that she had hurt last year. Now she's okay.
See how your wrists shift around that bar right before you let go. Very difficult dismount, double layout, full twist.
Third in the conference on this apparatus, and there's Melissa getting the hugs. Maya Wickus, 9.65 for her vault. And now to Rebecca Simbutis, who has that intensity on her face. Again, a fall off the bar, so she certainly wants to make up for that. Here she goes.
Yurchenko entry again, round off back handspring onto the horse. She only does a half twist though instead of a full, which makes her have a blind landing. She doesn't quite know when the floor is coming except for her air awareness, but it's hard to see visually. A lot of people prefer to do the full twist because you can see the ground coming. Only a half there. Beautiful body position as she's twisting. Has a little bit more power than she expected, I think.
Good effort for Rebecca Simbudas. And Melissa Fernandez on the uneven bars, 9.75, her best mark of the season. And here is Allison Buckley, two-time All-American. She is waiting for the floor exercise to clear behind her. Top 7th position in the conference in this event for Allison. And let's go in the Iowa huddle.
You would not have been able to do that, right? It's not a physical thing. You have been trained to the best of our ability here. Use this. If this isn't working, you don't use this. You don't use this. Okay?
Did you know Larissa majored in psychology in college? If you didn't before, you do now. Here is Allison.
She's right on point, though. Gymnastics is just as mental as it is physical, that's for sure. Such a dynamic bar worker. Her first release there, nicely caught to Tkachev, pack salto to low bar. All her releases are big, height above the bars. Toes pointed, look at that handstand. That's what we're looking for right there. Front dismount with a half twist. That's an upgrade from last year. Adding the half twist, adding a little bit more difficulty. Handstand right into a big reverse hecht. Nicely caught, hands all the way around the bar. And the first front dismount we've seen of the night. You can see her pirouette to her hand change. Front grip, double back, half twist.
And Allison Buckley finishing up on the vault. There's Rebecca Simbudas in a little better mood now. You can understand that, a 9.80 on the vault, so she's back. And we don't dare say on the beam. And that was the best effort there. And once we get Buckley's score on the uneven bars, yes, Hori and Rebecca. You know what? There's more significance there than you think. We'll talk about that in a little bit. This is Amber C., the freshman for Illinois, and this is what's called an exhibition. For those of you who are new to the gymnastics idea, you can have one gymnast. Basically, it's practice. You get a neat experience. The score doesn't count, and it's basically to put you in front of the crowd and see how you do.
Exactly. A lot of gymnasts compete as they train, which is a very positive thing, but sometimes they don't. Sometimes the pressure gets to them a little bit. So this is a great opportunity for the coach and the gymnast to see how they do under the watchful eyes of the judges.
We saw Allison Buckley's 9.80 score on the uneven bar. So here's Amber.
And she has a really great combination right here. There's one, and there's two. It's very exciting to see two releases in a move. There she pushes out that pirouette. Right to her shoot over. She's really working hard here. Just her dismount to go. She's fighting through it. Double out. Nice. You don't often see two releases in a row like that. That is very exciting to see. And she fought for that pirouette right after it. Probably see her in the competition lineup before we know it. Look at that push, all that strength, half pirouette, little adjustment here with the wrists. And she takes it to low bar.
And she will be an important element for Kim Landers in Illinois in the coming seasons, as you've got to replace senior leadership when they graduate. And Amber is going to be big in the lineup. They hope she'll all around eventually. And there she is, exhibitioning. So here we are. After two rotations, we're halfway done. You're looking at the Illinois huddle, and Illinois has set two season highs so far with both the events that they have been in so far, the vault and the bars. They will be moving to the floor and the beam. That'll be coming up next. So stay tuned. We've got live women's gymnastics right here. It's a Big Ten Network. It's Illinois. It's winter. Good times. Welcome back to Champaign, where Illinois and Iowa are dueling in women's gymnastics. Hey, Big Ten fans, now you can get free programming alerts on your mobile phone. Be the first to know when your favorite coaches and players will appear on the Big Ten Network. Just text alerts to 20284 or log on to bigtennetwork.com/alerts. Message and data rates may apply. All right, let's take a look at Iowa's warming up on the floor, but let's take a look at the vault results. Rebecca Sambudis with a 9.80, rebounding nicely from her problems on the uneven bars, followed by Hansen Zakowski at 7.725, and Suzic, Gabijan, and the sophomore Maya Wickus with a 9.65. So a solid effort there from Iowa. And let's take a look at the vault from Rebecca Sambudis.
You can see why this was the highest scoring vault of the rotation for Iowa. Her height there, and you can see as she lands, she knows where the ground is. She has a slight hop, but that's pretty much maybe a 1/10 and a half, and then maybe a 0.5 in the air deduction. You can see where those 2/10 came from.
And on the uneven bars, Allison Buckley, as she does so often, leading the way, 9.80. And here is Allison's bar routine.
And there's that big dynamic release at the very start of her routine. Leave it to Allison to pull through with the 9.8 for the team. Her pack salto to the low bar.
All right, 2 rotations down, 2 to go. And so far, this is a dogfight. Certainly, Illinois got the message last week. They said, okay, we're building. You know, Kim, yeah, we're building. Meanwhile, you know, they were shocked by tying Ohio State. So they got the message. They've got 2 season highs on their first 2 rotations.
Yeah, and you can tell by the girls out there, they're out for blood tonight. It's a heated competition. The scores are very evenly matched so far. 2 big events coming up for both teams. Going to see who's going to squeak ahead.
Well, and Iowa certainly has shown a great improvement. We've seen them last year. We've seen them the last couple of years. And they, by all means, are a different team with the same people. Well, what do we mean by that? You know, Larissa said we taught them how to lead. You know, the senior class this year has learned how to lead. And that is an interesting thing to say about upperclassmen. But they, you know, she thought that they were too tentative last year, maybe a little too timid. But you saw Gabijan and Sambudis kidding around for camera. They would never do that last year, a year ago. Yeah.
Maybe a little lightness, a little humor. Is
a little lightness and humor, but at the same time, a lot of drive, energy, and commitment.
Absolutely, and those 2 are certainly big leaders on the team. But you have to give credit to the underclassmen, because it's not just your leaders, as Larissa was saying, but the importance of the girls who start second, third up in the lineup.
Exactly.
Those scores mean just as much.
Exactly, and Larissa's big on the fact that our leadoff people are setting the table and scoring.
Absolutely.
The balance beam now. Next for Illinois, Alina Weinstein will start. We'll see our first vision of Samantha Perino, Sarah Fiedler, Joanna Dees, Buckley, Fernandez. The 3 all-arounders will round out that event for the Illini as you look at Kelsey and Allison getting ready for the balance beam. Meanwhile, on the floor, as you look at Hori Gabijan, who's been bothered by some hip and ankle problems, but and Larissa really wants to rest her, but she won't come out of the lineup, and certainly you can understand that today.
Definitely. It's hard to keep a great gymnast down. You know, it's work through pain and sore muscles, and that's sort of the name of the game, especially a gymnast like Hori, who just keeps getting better and is a great competitor, great practicer, great leader, doesn't want to sit down, doesn't want to stay out of anything.
Kim Landris with her team, and we will see their floor lineup in just a minute. They're getting set to go. Well, you know, it's a little different in gymnastics. It's not an even competition in terms of everybody doesn't compete against everybody else. Some teams don't play the others. You're pointing to the championships for the conference and then regionals. So a lot of times coaches will tell you, right, Elise, that you're using these meets almost as scene setters, not practice, not training, but it's not as though every win is important and every loss is devastating.
Right, it's definitely a mental game, very much as it is physical. As Larissa was saying, their win against Michigan was just a confidence builder for them, and sort of like, hey, we can beat the best of the best, and maybe that attitude adjustment is all they need.
Alina Weinstein concentrating on the balance beam, and if you need concentration on one event in women's gymnastics, there it is.
And that's the name of the game on that event, that's for sure. The self-talk,
By the way,
focus.
take a look at that green ribbon in Alina's hair. We'll talk about that in a minute, because all the Illini are wearing green ribbons, and we'll tell you why in just a couple of minutes.
That starting off position, first girl up on the event, very important role. Keep in mind here, all this tumbling that she's doing, handspring, back layout, step out, is all being done on 4 inches of space. You know, you do it so much as a gymnast, you begin to forget how narrow it really is.
Do you?
Yes.
Wow.
It's all about sort of hip placement and shoulder placement, foot placement, all of that alignment, just to feel like you're really on the floor. But any tweak of any body part that's off center will certainly make you fall. It's 4 feet up off the ground as well. There's a nice tuck full. As I mentioned before, the dance is just as important as the tumbling in floor and beam. A lot of people don't think that, but it's valued similarly, and it counts towards that score just as much. Round off 1.5 dismount, which can be tricky sometimes, but she steps out of it, a little extra juice. She has a blind landing here on her dismount. Can't really see the floor as she's twisting, just has to know it's coming. She catches herself 2 hops, so that's going to cost her a couple of tenths.
Alina Weinstein, lead off for Illinois on the balance beam. Now we will swing over to the floor, and here is a senior, Andrea Herbert from Waterloo, Iowa. Went to Waterloo West High School, and this is her first appearance this afternoon. She walked on as a freshman, and she is in the lineup as a senior.
Her first tumbling run, punch front, through to a double back, a little bit low in the landing. You can see how bent her knees were there on the landing, a little low, but that's an impressive first pass. Dynamic music leading into her second tumbling run. Another double back, a little too much rotation. Sometimes a gymnast doesn't quite know where the floor is on the landing, so you can keep pulling when really you should open up for the landing. Looks like that's what happened there. So hopefully Iowa won't have to count this score, but you never quite know. So this third tumbling pass is important. Has to be nailed. 1.5 punch front.
All right, Andrea Herbert, the senior, you know she is not happy with that, but as you say, Iowa hopes they won't have to count it. And here she goes.
Here's that double salto. See, she keeps pulling right when she should have opened up to land on the floor. A little bit too much rotation. Finishes strong, though, with this last pass. 1.5 twist backwards, directly into a punch front.
And buck up, that's what teammates are for. Alina's score, 9.65 for Alina Weinstein on the balance beam. And Samantha Perino, here's Sam from Yorktown, Virginia, the senior psychology major, who really broke through last year as a junior. the most improved gymnast if you talk to Kim Landress. Here she is on the beam. She really saved them last week at Ohio State because Selena Weinstein fell off the beam and Perino came back with a very strong routine. And again, that means a lot as you continue through the lineup.
Absolutely. You want to sort of pick up anything that your teammates may have lost on the routine.
And this week it's Sam's turn to fall.
That was her flight series. Handspring step out, back layout. Sometimes going into that back layout, if you're just slightly crooked, she looks a little shaken here. It'll take you just right off the beam.
Might it not be better to take a little more time than she took to get back on, compose yourself a bit, or at this point doesn't it matter?
It's just personal preference. Sometimes you just want to get back up and continue, sort of finish your rhythm. Sometimes girls like to step off and take a deep breath. It's really just personal preference. It's a nice solid front tuck. There's a lot of noise and buzz in the arena this afternoon with this gym jam competition. You really have to stay in your own bubble on the beam. Hear nothing but your own voice. Think about nothing of what you're doing. Gainer, back pike.
It's kind of like the championships with 4 things going at once. So
it is. It's a good warm-up for that. That championships is loud and noisy and sort of like this. Here's a full turn, a really basic element, but an element that can cause problems in competitions. Here's that almost diver-like dismount, back pike gainer, coming back towards the beam. Very elegant and pretty, although not easy.
Right, some experience gain there for even the senior, Samantha Perino. And Andrea Hobart, 8-9-7-5. As we told you, she had those problems there. And Annie Sikowski. Annie with a 9-7-2-5 on the vault. Now on the floor.
Next on the floor is Annie Sikowski.
I watched Annie warm up this dance through. All the girls sort of go through their dance in warm-ups. It's fantastic choreography. Really stands out. Of course, she performs it beautifully. She's in an important position right here. Need a score so they don't have to count that fall. Double pike, nice opening pass.
Well, you know it's got to put more pressure on the rest of the lineup when the first person has a problem.
Definitely no more room for error. 2.5 twist. There's that front landing again.
Sikowski is really doing the floor because of an injury to another gymnast who suffered a concussion. So this is a big stage for her. She's not normally in this event for the Hawkeyes.
This is a great chance for her to get out there in front of the judges and prove to her team that she should be in the floor lineup. She certainly has a great routine to show. And again, she's got a lot of pressure on her because of the fall, but even more so if she's not all the time in the floor lineup. Nice front pass there.
All right, Annie Sikowski. Good effort under more than a little bit of pressure.
There's this very unique choreography here on the floor. Very precise. See her eye focus to the audience. Judges love all that.
She also has really a wonderful personality. And Samantha Perino, Sam had a rough day, and these happen after the fall. 9.075. And of course, a little more pressure on the freshman, Sarah Fiedler, who did the beam last week on Ohio State. 9.65 there, and here she is from suburban Chicago, Lake Zurich, Illinois. And yes, there is a lake. There is a lake.
There's that. She just completed that simple turn. Another one off on the flight series.
Well.
Flight series is can often be the kicker in the routine. As I said before, if you're just a little bit off on that first skill, it'll trickle down to the second skill and throw you off.
Well, this certainly changes things as far as potential final results.
Definitely, this is not a path that Illinois wants to go down to fall after fall. You need that gymnast who's going to change the path, change the road.
Well, Iowa had a strong showing against Michigan, but certainly benefited by 2 falls that Michigan had to count. And here, Illinois is going to have to count at least 1.
That's a nice combination there. Switch leap, straddle jump, back tuck. Again, for that connection bonus leading up to that start value. Dismount to go, round off. Double full, little crooked there, little twisting off the beam. She wasn't exactly in front of the beam when she landed. And of course, 5/10 for the fall. Right off the bat, handspring, back layout. You can see she barely gets that second foot on the beam. She was pretty crooked. Round off, double full twist. So unfortunately, they're going to have to count one of those falls.
And we learned from this, Annie Sikowski, the 9.6 for her floor exercise, and that will take us to Emma Stevenson. And Emma, as we told you, she is a tremendous leader of this team as an underclassman. She's also one of the taller gymnasts we'll see at 5'7", and that has its pluses and minuses, doesn't it, Elise?
Definitely. People always think of gymnasts as being very short, you know, 5 and under perhaps. So it's just lovely to see a gymnast that's 5'7". It really is. They usually have wonderful lines and power in their gymnastics. So she's really hoping here to pull out a big score for them. They could really use it right now. Iowa has some really great choreography. The judges see so many floor routines, hear so many different kinds of music that it stands out when a gymnast really shows off the choreography and dance, sneaks around that pass. There's a front full in a tuck position. You could see she landed really low. Her knees were very bent. She made it, but she'll get deduction for that low landing. 1 more to go. Another front pass. Handspring. Rudy, so she'll get 5 for the fall and 1 for going out of bounds. You can see where the blue and the white are. Gymnasts must stay on the blue at all times or suffer the deduction. Front 1.5 to a punch front full, a very difficult pass, and she really does work hard to squeak it around. Not quite sure what happened here. Punch front Rudy, it looks good. Looks like her feet almost got caught up, or she wasn't quite sure where the landing was. Enough to take her down and out of bounds.
Well, as quickly as that daylight opened up for Iowa, it closed again. Now both teams have to count for problems or extremely low scores. Not exactly a fall on floor. Kelsey Joannides following Sarah Fiedler's routine. Here is Kelsey on the beam, and she won it last week.
Kelsey is just phenomenal on this event. And if anyone can turn around the energy on this event, it's definitely Kelsey. She's just very poised, very confident. And there's that flight series that got to 2 of her teammates. Same exact series, but Kelsey nails it. No problems there. There's that full turn. That also can sneak up on you. You can just tell in her face how confident she is, how focused she is. A nice combination there. That was a cat leap, which is a sort of jump directly to a front aerial. cartwheel, gainer full. Thank you, Kelsey. Illinois needed that hit routine, if anything, just to turn the tables.
She's ranked number 6 in the Big Ten, Kelsey Joannidis, with a good, solid, clean routine. Let's take a look.
You can see how hard the feet work, the ankles, the toes, every little muscle in those feet are working. One foot is almost as wide as the beam. Cartwheel gainer for just beautifully clean, really, really precise in her twisting. And of course, that stuck landing.
Very important for Illinois. Emma trying to get it together, 8.95 after the problem she had on the floor. She'll be back. Here is Huri.
I think she said there, I don't know what happened, and that's sort of what it looked like. Really not sure if her feet got caught up in the carpet or what.
Let's watch Gabijan here, a very dynamic floor routine. See how much the injuries affect her.
Not much, it looks
there.
like. Very strong double pike to start.
We told you she's got hip flexor muscle problems and some ankle problems, and they want to rest her. She says no, and here she goes. You wouldn't know what to look at her.
Such expression, little moonwalk into the corner. She just looks like she loves gymnastics, loves to compete, loves to perform. That was another solid second pass. She's got one more to go. Beautiful, beautiful jumps there. Your feet have to get around in a full circle. The judges look for your feet placement on those jumps. And Hori is a great example of getting credit for those dance combinations.
You know, when they tell you have fun out there, this is what they mean.
Exactly, exactly.
You know how hard it is to have fun, and when coaches say have fun, make
This
it
is
look
what
like
they're talking about.
you're
Perfect
right.
example. Third pass. There we go. Ends with a double tuck. Not an easy pass to finish with. But she makes it look very easy. Well done.
Well, a very even competition so far. Gabijan for Iowa. Excellent routine.
Here's that big first pass. And round off back handspring at double pike. You can see her power in her takeoff. And precision in her landing. And her third pass ending with another double flip. Again, not an easy pass to finish your routine with. It's a minute 30 seconds of non-stop work.
Which is what Huri Gabijan is. You know, when she's not training or studying, she's the student trainer for the wrestling and men's wrestling team. So there you go. I mean, no grass grows under her feet. And somewhere back there you'll find Kelsey Joannidis, and we will tell you that she had a, there she is. Her score on the floor, she's at 9.875 on the beam.
That is a great score for Kelsey on the beam, not only for her individually, but just as tonight for her team. That's always what you're doing it for first.
And here's Buckley.
There's that unique mount that just takes an immense amount of strength. It's called a press handstand. She does it with such ease and such control.
The most individual titles, second most in Illinois history. She's at 45 and counting. Trying to add to it today.
There's that flight series, just drops one of her arms. Just a very, very slight wobble. Very nice combination there. Switch lead directly to a standing back layout step out, which is not easy to do. A lot of girls choose to just do a back tuck, but not Allison, which makes her stand out. Again, you can see the focus in her face, like she's the only thing going on right now, and that's exactly where you need to be when you're on this 4-inch wide apparatus.
She was a second team All-American on beam, first in Illinois history. That was as a freshman. And of course, last year she was All-American on the vault.
Cartwheel gainer full, stuck.
So the two-time All-American finishes her beam routine, Allison Buckley.
Here's that press handstand mount. And although she just floats right up to handstand, it is very hard to get there. Takes a lot of strength and then a planche out of it. Just beautiful. Here's a flight series. A couple of her teammates are having trouble on. Manages just to drop that arm in order to save it. Very clean, precise cartwheel gainer full, stuck.
And there is Allison Buckley. We'll wait for her score. Meanwhile, there is Gabijan and Huri. 9.8 on the floor exercise, which the best so far. Again, they've had two real problems on this event. And here's Jessa Hansen as the anchor. And Jessa, top 10 in the conference on the floor.
You can see that she just ran down the diagonal with nothing in front of it, punched and did 2 front flips in the air with a beautiful landing. She's looking great so far. She just set her career high of 9.925 on this event last weekend against the Wolverines. You can see why. Her tumbling passes are packed full of difficulty. Really makes her set apart from a lot of the other gymnasts. And they're very unique. Front handspring, front full to a punch layout. Very, very strong.
Jessa Hansen with a strong floor routine that Iowa certainly needs.
You can see why they put her in the anchor position.
I'm sorry, the junior from Clive, Iowa. As we said, that's in the Des Moines area.
It's the very start of her choreography. I'm going to show this very impressive first pass. You do not see this very often, if at all. Watch how far she's going to run down the diagonal because she only has one skill to do, running. There's that third pass. Front handspring, front full, punch layout. Very, very clean way to end that routine.
For the junior, there's Jessa.
There she is.
Take a bow. Allison Buckley's routine 9.90 on the beam, and here is Melissa Fernandez, number 3 in the conference on this event. 9.75s on both events so far, the vault and the uneven bars. Here's Melissa.
And this is her event, All-American on this event. And she saves it. You can see she does 3 skills, taking up the entire length of the beam. Everybody else only does 2. Just increase in difficulty. Just slightly crooked, but she really fought for it. Stayed on the beam, which is saves herself 3/10 there instead of just coming off. There's a side summy. She lands facing the judges, actually. And her leap combination, split full, beautiful. You can see her splits are all in a 180-degree split, and the judges sitting on the side can see each degree. Just her dismount to go. Round off double full, takes it a little step there, is trying to save it. She hit that routine, which Illinois definitely needed, although not her best. We've seen Melissa do amazing beam work. We're gonna see this slight balance check in her final skill. She turns her hips just a little bit, fights hard for it though. And then her dismount, round off, back layout with 2 twists, and steps back.
All right, Melissa Fernandez. A rough rotation for both schools so far, but Melissa certainly did her part. There's Jessa Hansen, who came up strong with a 9.80 for Iowa.
So that's a pair of 9.8s for Iowa.
And Rebecca Simbutis on the floor. She needs to be strong here. She is ranked 3rd in the conference. She has a personal best of 9.875. She's done that 4 times, and she can certainly use that or better here.
She's following a pair of 9.8s, but certainly capable of raising that score. Nice double pike for her opener. We also have another performer here. Check out her dance moves. There's a front Rudy. Rudy is a 1.5 twist. Coming from a front handspring. It's another gymnast who really just looks like she's having a blast out there. I saw her warm this part up. She really gets down here. Nice dance moves on the floor, bringing her personality out there. Having fun, name of the game.
That must have been wild last week when she did this at the field house against Michigan. The place was packed.
Oh yeah, ending on floor anchor position, absolutely. Double back, you can see she has a sting mat on the floor, which is absolutely allowed, just adds a little bit more padding to the landing.
Rebecca Simbutis.
There's that solid performance from her.
And an entertaining one for the senior.
Just that final tumbling run, round off back handspring, double back. Same pass that Hori ended with. Not an easy pass to finish your routine with.
One more, hang in there,
Allison Buckley, there she is. 9.90 on the beam.
9.9.
Yeah, the score of the night, score of the afternoon, and Melissa Fernandez following her. Melissa had a little problem there, but still a solid score. That should be a 9.7 for Melissa. And here's Lashley Morris, who is exhibiting for Illinois, or exhibitioning, we should say. Again, this score doesn't count. It's to give Lash a chance to perform in front of the crowd under meet conditions.
The coach wants to be able to count on all of her gymnasts just in case they need to step into the lineup. And she also does a triple series, is what it's called, when you tumble with 3 skills down the length of the beam, just as Melissa did. But if you're crooked in 1 or 2 of those skills, the 3rd one is sure to be off. The point of this routine, again, is just to get experience in competition. So even though she had that fall, she's still getting the experience of competing the rest of her routine. So she's going to work hard through it to do the best she can.
Senior
nice side roll there.
Senior from Leesburg, Florida. And that was one of the bloggers for the website for the Illini. Everybody's, you got a blog?
I do not.
You do not have a, get a
Not
blog.
really my thing.
Get a blog. Everybody's got a blog. Even our producer, Jim Ressler's got a blog. No, he doesn't. Okay.
A wolf full there. That's a very difficult jump. It's worth a lot in difficulty. Slight balance check on it. And there's that diving like dismount gainer back pike coming back in towards the beam. So good experience for her to get out there, big meet like this.
You do it on live TV, too. That's a nice thing, right?
Gainer back pike. It's very unique to do a dismount like that. It's very nice to see, very refreshing.
Senior Lashley Morris and Rebecca Sambutis giving the camera the good wink. 9.80 for Rebecca on the floor. And I think we're going to have a floor exhibition as well. Here's Tesla Cox, whom we saw earlier, leading off on the bars, and here she is on the floor exercise.
We were talking about the importance of the underclassmen. So they'll hope that this freshman will be able to step up to the plate, enter the real lineup soon.
Well, as much progress as Iowa's making, they are really senior heavy, you know, so it's got to really count as much as they can this year. When they lose Sambutis and they lose Ori Gabijan.
Right, big shoes to fill. That first pass, landing it nicely.
Tesla's going to be among those, along with Jessa Hansen, Annie Sikowski. They've got to come through.
Second tumbling run. Back 1.5 to a punch. Looks like it may have been supposed to have been a layout, but she went ahead and tucked. Gymnasts have to be very smart in the air. They have to have incredible air awareness, sort of feel where things are so they can make adjustments if necessary, which is what Tesla did right there, I think. Front handspring, front full to a front tuck. That was a great exhibition routine for Tesla. Coach saying that, of course, it wasn't perfect, but great experience to be out there, I'm sure. Here's that front full to front tuck.
All right, so we are through 3 rotations. And again, this was a tough one for both teams, but Illinois certainly had the better of it there. We have got 1 more rotation to go. We will see who wins that, who will win the all-around. We'll have more. So stay tuned. Live gymnastics continues right here. It's the Big Ten Network, Iowa and Illinois. Back at Huff Hall, our next gymnastics event, the men's turn. The Hawkeyes meet the Illinois Fighting Illini next Saturday at 5 p.m. Eastern here on the Big Ten Network. We've got the women for you live, and right now live we've got Kim Landrus, the coach of the University of Illinois. Well, it seems that you got off to a pretty strong start, Kim, with season bests in your first 2 rotations.
We did. We came out on vault and bars great. We hit all of our routines, and they really did an excellent job.
All right, so what happened on the 3rd?
You know, we took a slight dip in our momentum for the day, but I told them it's over. We have 7 strong routines left for floor, and just to forget about it for now, and we'll bounce back.
So on beam, you had Kelsey, Allison, Melissa putting up 9-8, 9-9, 9-7. I mean, 3 solid routines. How do those leaders play into this whole big picture?
You know, those are our 3 veterans on the team, and they have done a phenomenal job for us and will continue to do so. I'm so proud that they came back after a very, very rough start on beam and finished us off strong.
Okay, Kim, thank you very, very much, and good luck the rest of the way.
Thanks.
Okay. Kim Landrus, the first-year coach of the University of Illinois, but hardly a stranger to the program. She has been an assistant for years before then. And as we're looking at the warm-ups, 1 routine to go. The floor results for the Hawkeyes. Gabijan, Jessa Hansen, Sambutis all at 9-8, so a very strong floor. But you see Hurlbert and Stevenson having a problem. They had to count 1 of those scores. And that has really hurt them, obviously, in a very close dual meet. Illinois, meanwhile, had its own problems on the beam. But look at how Allison Buckley came through with a 9.90, and Joanna Dees Kelsey with an 8.75. And Fernandez, Weinstein, and Perino and Fiedler. Perino and Fiedler having problems. But otherwise, a good routine for Illinois. Here's
that 990. Yes, very, very solid routine. That's only 1/10 that the judges found wrong in this routine. And there we just saw again that press handstand mount. Very unique. Again, takes a tremendous amount of strength, but Allison just seems to float right up there. There's that series that a couple of her teammates had trouble on earlier. She just drops that one arm just to sort of set herself back up on the beam. Allison is just so confident on this event. We mentioned that the best gymnasts on the event look like they're doing their skills on the floor. Needless to say, it's only 4 inches, but they just make it look so easy, and Allison is certainly one of those that does it.
Was this, where did this event sit for you among the 4?
One of my best. I love training it. It was one of my favorites, and it's always nerve-wracking to compete it because you get the nerves and you get the shakes a little bit. But again, that self-talk, talking yourself all through the routine, it's the name of the game. Is that very clean, precise gainer cartwheel full. And again, no steps on the landing. 1/10 is the only thing they found wrong.
And Allison Buckley with 3 very strong scores, the current leader in the all-around. And again, that could add to her total of 45 championships during her career. Let's take a look at the team totals now. That fall for, or the problems on the floor for Iowa really cut into the achievement that the Hawkeyes have been making. They are down about 6/10.
And that's a big gap.
Yeah.
So we'll see if any gains can be made coming into their last rotation.
Plus, they'll be ending on the beam, and Illinois will be ending on the floor. And you have to think that the floor exercise normally is a little bit higher scoring. Well, coming up, we've got lots of gymnastics for you. The remaining women's telecasts in our series in 2011 will be at Michigan State for the Illini against the Spartans. That's on February 25th. The next day, it'll be Penn State, Ohio State. At the Nittany Lions, Alabama and Michigan. So an out-of-conference meet for the Wolverines on the 13th of March. And of course, live we will have the Big Ten Championships coming up from Minneapolis. And I wonder what kind of art Jim Stevenson is going to have for us this time. Jim, the longtime coach, and of course his wife, co-coach, and now the head coach, Meg. Jim is an artist and does all these wonderful murals and does the cover designs for the championship. That's worth it. Okay, gut check time for Iowa. As you can see, Andrea Herbert getting a low 5 from her coach. And here she starts off on the beam for the Hawkeyes. Last rotation, do or die.
Talk about unique mounts. She actually does a back hip circle on the balance beam. That's actually an uneven bar skill. But she does it here. Very unique and very great to see some different dance moves like that. Is a front flip right down to the beam. Again, another skill that we don't see all that often. And she put her hands down there on the beam, which actually, unfortunately, counts as a fall. There's that gainer full dismount. She did it in combination with a switch leap. So just a little bit of a different combination that we've seen previously this competition.
All right, Andrea Herbert, we'll see it again. And as you said, Elise, she touched the beam. It's 5/10.
There's that flight series has been real tricky this competition. You can see she put both hands down on the beam, and although she didn't fall off, it counts as a fall on the beam.
All right, Sam Perino. She had her problems on the beam. Now she in her strongest event on the floor. Here she goes.
Double pike, and that's how it's supposed to be done. That landing looked very easy, very controlled. That's what the judges want to see. And Sam is a great leadoff person. She was a great leadoff gymnast last weekend as well. Sets a great tone for the rotation. Although Illinois is in the lead, they certainly can't take anything for granted at this point. Everything matters, everything counts. Front handspring, front layout, directly to a front full. Again, that ease and control in her landing, just like the first pass. Although the judges can take deductions within the tumbling pass, the real deductions then come at the landing. They really keep an eye out for that. And that was a double full twist directly to a punch front, and she just was a little short, didn't have the rotation to pull it around. Another fall for the Illini.
They'll take 5 for that, 5/10.
Yes, 5/10. That's so disappointing on the last tumbling run. You just have one to go and come up a little short. Here's that nearly flawless double pike in the beginning. Look at the ease and control of that landing. Then she does a back double full layout with 2 twists and then immediately punches. She just is a little short, and you can see she gainers a little bit, which means she won't have the rotation to land on her feet.
And lose 5/10. There she's talking to Kim. Let's go over to the beam. Andrea Hurlbut for Iowa, 9.30. And they hope they don't have to count that. Here is Jessa, an all-arounder in her final event.
Jessa really attacks all of her events. Seems like there's no holding back. And although nerves, everybody feels nerves when they compete, you can hardly tell with Jessa. She really just gets out there and goes hard for all of her skills, all of her routines. Really comes through in her competition. Really works for her. And that was her flight series, handspring back layout, step out, down the beam. That's a requirement for all the gymnasts. Punch front tuck. I knew Jessa was going to do a front tuck when she started because of her chalked shins. When she flips, she grabs the front of her shins there, and just to prevent any slipping, she really chalks them up well. It's nice when a gymnast takes her eyes off the beam. And she has to there on that side semi. Lands facing the judges. Cartwheel gainer full, stuck landing.
Boy, that's a good routine for the Hawkeyes. And not to belabor the point, but they certainly needed it.
Here's that dreaded flight series as seems to be this competition, but she handles it beautifully. Cartwheel gainer full, watch those feet, no movement.
That's it. The replay shows no movement. Jessa Hansen, good job. Andrea Hurlbut, as we told you, had that problem with the fall or the touch, 9.3.
Right, a lot of people think when you don't come off, it doesn't count as a fall, but it does.
And Samantha Perino, who had the fall on her last pass, 9.075. And again, even with a better than 6/10 lead, Illinois will really have to step it up. Here's Melissa Fernandez. Listen to the music. This is fun.
And leave it to one of Illinois' veterans to get them back on track. Melissa's great on this event in tumbling and in dance. Again, it's really the combination that sets the gymnast apart from everybody else. Go Pike. one of the other events that really takes its toll on ankles and shins. As you know, Melissa injured herself last year at Big Tens, but she is back strong and looking great. 2.5 punch front. I believe that's an increase in difficulty from last weekend. She'll also get combination for adding a flip out of that 2.5. It's a very impressive pass when you add the flip out. You can see that little piece of tape there in the corner. It's just so the gymnast knows not to step back too much further so she doesn't step out of bounds. Real solid, clean final pass.
Melissa Fernandez to the beat. 10th in the conference on this event, on the floor, and there she goes.
Here's that increase in difficulty from just a tuck double back, but it's a pike double back, and again, such control and precision on the landing. Judges won't find much to deduct within that pass.
And speaking of not finding much to deduct, good score on the beam for Jessa Hansen of Iowa. And Rebecca Simbutis, who has scored as high as a 9.925 on this event, is up next. As you see, she has had that fall on the bars, which will certainly take her out of the all-around competition, but she certainly also wants to put together a good team score for Iowa.
That was a front aerial. Again, you're landing on one foot blindly, which is very difficult. Directly into what's called a splashdown, which is essentially a back handspring. You miss your feet and just straddle the beam with control. And it's not as painful as one might think.
Elise, it all looks painful. Well, your problem, you told me, was your shoulders were the biggest thing for you, right? You're always hurting them.
Yeah, each gymnast has something. There was another side semi where you're landing away from the beam. Cartwheel full dismount, and she fights for that stuck landing. Feet do not move. She'll get it.
All right, she won this event in Minnesota a couple of weeks ago, and a clean routine for her here.
Here's that nice side summer. You can see she's just looking right down at the floor. Her feet are actually sideways on that move. There's that cartwheel full, and watch her fight for that landing. Her toes digging into the mat to fight for that.
Melissa Fernandez, a decent score. She certainly has done better, 9.725. Could be that the injuries are hurting her more than she's letting on, but still very solid. And here's Alina Weinstein, confident sophomore. Did a good job at Ohio State last week, as you saw, with a 9.825, which was a personal best for her.
Nice double tuck, and she lands that tumbling pass very much vertical, which is really nice. A lot of the gymnasts tend to land a little lower in their legs. There's a big knee bend. The judges take off for that. Even if they're on their feet, the way they land is still important, and she lands very tall, very clean. Again, lands very tall. She does a front Rudy, which is a 1.5 twist going forward, but her momentum is going backwards, so she just uses the momentum of the floor, punches into a back layout, and she got a lot of height off that back layout. If it's done the way she does it, it's a lot of fun to do. Third tumbling pass double pike. She chooses to end with her most difficult tumbling pass, which stands out to the judges. They will acknowledge it.
Sophomore Alina Weinstein for Illinois.
You can see how the bounce of the floor really propels her up into the air. And ending with the most difficult double pike makes you think that maybe they're training something more difficult where that double tuck is in the first pass.
And she'll wait for her score. You can see the green ribbon in Alina's hair as they have them in all the Illini's hairdos today. It really is quite significant. It's in support of Michigan State gymnast Catherine Mahoney, who was seriously injured in practice before the season started. She was on the vault and fractured a vertebrae in her spine and is doing, we are told, well in rehab. But as Kim Landris said, yes, we are blue and orange, but we are green in support as well for Michigan State. So we certainly want to wish Catherine a speedy recovery and all good things to her and her family. Here is Tesla Cox. We get back to the action, the freshman from South Carolina, who is getting thrown into the action very, very quickly. There she is on the beam where she has gone already to a score of 9.75 in her short career.
There's that flight series. And talk about attacking the event. She really is doing that in her expression and her aggression in each skill and dance combination. And the best way to handle such an event as balance beam is exactly like she is doing, with aggression.
She's also got the problem of bone chips in her ankle, and she never knows when they're going to flare up. And every time you hit, that's got to be a reminder.
Definitely. It's a hard apparatus. There's not much give to it at all. It's a wood apparatus with a little bit of foam on top, but it can hurt. She must be a tough cookie. She has no ankle wraps, anything braced up. Her dismount, round off. 1.5 twist. Slight hop on the landing, but other than that, solid beam routine.
Freshman Tesla Cox will show you some of the footwork.
There's that flight series. It's just the feet work and the ankle work is just essential in every skill on the balance beam. Round off back 1.5 with that blind landing. She doesn't see the mat coming. She's on her feet though.
There's Tesla. And Alina Weinstein, her score 9.80 on the floor. And here is teammate Kelsey Joannidis competing for the all-around. And she's ranked 3rd in the Big Ten on this event.
Double back, beautifully landed. Just as we were talking about her precision on the balance beam, you can certainly see it here in all of the choreography and in the tumbling. The judges notice any little thing in any part of the dance, any line of the tumbling. And she's great at managing all those little details. It's very precise, very clean. There's her front pass. And that's how it's supposed to be done. Her hips are open. She's in a beautifully stretched position in both skills of that run. One to go, double pike. And that's how it's done. You can see in the air, her legs and her toes are glued together. You don't see that all too often. Beautiful routine, beautiful.
Junior from Frederick, Maryland, finishing her all-around performance.
They won't find too much wrong with that routine. You can see the There's a smile from Kelsey. She's a serious gymnast, but yes, you can see that very unique choreography down on the ground. A little bit more of it here, a little shoulder roll.
There is Kelsey. And a 9.55 over for the freshman, Tesla Cox. Annie Sikowski, the junior from Nevada.
Said there that her beam score from last weekend was a 9.6.
You know, we might add too that one of Iowa's key performers is out with a concussion suffered in practice, Caitlin Urano, and so Iowa's really a man down or a gymnast down.
That was an interesting choice of a series there. It was one back handspring, then directly connected to a front flip where she lands down on the beam. We haven't seen that combination yet. And we have not seen that either. That was lovely. That was a switch leap, and it's called a Shushinova, which is done on the floor exercise, where you take it all the way down to just your hands and your hips on the beam. And she got a lot of amplitude off the beam, which really made it look beautiful. Just her dismount to go here, round off. Double full, stuck. That is a difficult dismount to stick, but her feet didn't move. She knew exactly where she was. And she should score higher than a 9.6 on that one. That was a really nice routine. Watch her feet. She gets enough height off the beam to know where she is. Boom, looks at that ground, knows she's got it.
Annie Sikowski, there's Kelsey Joannidis, and her score 9.80 on the floor. There again, a look at the freshman Amber C, who did a good job on the floor last week in Columbus against the Buckeyes. Here she is now.
She's a little powerhouse. That's a tough first pass. She really runs hard into that pass. Double full to a punch front. Not easy. She has intense dynamic music to go with all these big tumbling passes. She's another one that just looks like she's having a blast out there. Beautiful 2.5. You can see she's right in the center of that corner. A lot of gymnasts tend to take their twist a little bit early going into that, and it'll be off center, which again the judges take, but she was right in the middle. And that's the way to land a punch front Rudy. Such clean tumbling. Really, really well done right here.
Freshman Amber C for Illinois.
Look at the height she gets in that double front twist. She really shows how each pass should be done. If you ever want to know what it looks like to do a great pass, it's there.
Well, they're expecting big things from her in the coming years, and you know, we talked about Iowa filling up the leadership void after the seniors graduate. Illinois has got some graduating seniors too, and Amber's going to have to step it up. Here is Corey Gabesian winning this last year And that beam routine. Oh, boy, I just love watching her.
Defending Big Ten champ right there.
She will be next gymnast to do the beam here as we get Annie Zakowski's score. 9.7. Best score of the season for Annie. And here is Hori, defending Big Ten beam champion. And of course, all-around competitor. Second team all Big Ten from a year ago. Boom. Uh-oh.
What sets Hori apart on this event is she really does not hold back in any of the difficulty. A lot of the girls tend to play it safe, maybe do a skill that they are just completely comfortable with, a little bit more again on the safe side, but not Hori. She goes big, and that mount is a very big mount. It's a punch front onto the beam.
And we saw her do it last week perfectly.
Yes.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, just slightly crooked, maybe off the board. If you don't punch the board dead on, you won't land dead on.
As Larissa Libby says, among others, that's gymnastics. Pick up and go after that.
And there was their flight series, which was flawless. And this dismount here is an example of what I mean by not holding back. Nobody else in the conference does it. And she was short. And that does not feel good on ankles, I assure you.
Mentally or physically. Oh boy, here we go.
That punch front mount.
Doom. Nope.
Just her feet were crooked on the landing, enough to take her off. Goes to show what she's capable of right here, though. Nothing wrong with that. And this incredibly impressive, incredibly difficult dismount just doesn't get a nice height off the beam and is slightly open in her tuck. In that double flip, you want to get as little as possible in your tuck position.
Score for Amber C on the floor. Very credible 9.775 for Amber. And Allison Buckley, who will be the final performer of the afternoon for Illinois.
This is her chance just to have fun. She's had an excellent competition so far. She makes this floor exercise just look so easy. She can just do her thing, have a good time out there. That was another interesting pass, that back Rudy to a punch back layout. It really gets the spring off the floor as we saw previously. Judges like when you just fly up in the air. Love that amplitude. And talk about amplitude. There's that amplitude on those jumps. Girls can just do their jumps, and then they can do their jumps like Allison does her jumps. You can see the difference. Her last pass. Again, not holding back at all in the difficulty for the last pass. Beautiful double pike. Super, super solid.
The pride of Conant High School in Schaumburg, Illinois. Allison Buckley, a senior here at the U of I, and another well-done event.
For the men, the 2-minute warm-up period will begin now.
Here's that first pass. Front double full twist. Line landing. Huge amplitude. And talk about height. Double pike. Look at this landing. Boom.
Extremely, extremely high. There she is. We're waiting for her scores. Hori Gabishan doesn't want to know about her. She has certainly had better days, but she gave it best she could. And as you say, a lot of risk. 8.65 for Hori Gabishan. And we know we're going to get better from her as the year goes by. Elise Gill is going to do an exhibition on the floor for Illinois right now. Again, this does not count in the standings, but it is an opportunity for developing gymnasts to get some experience under meet conditions. Meanwhile, we're waiting for Allison Buckley's score. And we'll get that to you as soon as we get it from the judges. 9.825 for Allison Buckley. The best on her team.
First pass, double pike. Elise is another tall gymnast. You can see the gains that she got from it and the height of that first pass. One of those tonight. It was a whip half, is essentially a back handspring with no hands with a half twist directly into a front full. She's doing a great job in this exhibition routine. Just has one more pass to go. Very nicely done. Front handspring layout to a punch front full. Real solid routine.
And one that will continue to develop for Elise Gill. So that is it. That is the competition. We're going to total up all the numbers. We will get it all to you, and we'll let you know who won what and how. And Gym Jam is coming to an end. So stay tuned. We'll wrap things up right here on the Big Ten Network when we come back. Well, welcome back to the Dual, the Gym Jam, the Illinois-Iowa men's and women's meet. Of course, we're covering the women's here live, and the results are in. Let's take a look at Iowa's performance on the balance beam. And, of course, Uri Gabishin had that bad fall, and Iowa coming through. Jessa Hansen with a 9.85, doing very, very well. Rebecca Sambutis an 8.50, but, of course, they wanted a big number from Gabishin. We tried to give it to him, went for all or nothing. And one of those days. Meanwhile, on the floor, the University of Illinois had a strong performance led by the All-American, two-time All-American Allison Buckley, who wins this event, as well as the beam. Alina Weinstein and Kelsey Joannides a 9.80. And the floor results very, very good for the University of Illinois, that had a handy win over Iowa, a fast-developing Iowa team, but it learned that the road is never straight, Elise. There can be bumps. Allison Buckley, the all-around winner again. That gives her, let's see, 48 titles in her Illinois career. Kelsey Joannides second, and Melissa Fernandez third, as Illinois sweeps the top 3 places. Let's take a look at some of Allison Buckley from today. There she goes on the vault. On the uneven bars.
There's that unique front dismount with a half twist. She just stands out. She really does in her power, in her consistency. She's sharp. The details matter. All her landings are precise. All her skills are big, and she's consistent. She's having an excellent season and just very, very good all around in every competition. I can't ask for anything more than that.
She is not flashy, but boy, is she consistent and so competitive. Well, that's the story here from Huff Hall at the U of I. The results, the Illinois Fighting Illini defeating the Hawkeyes. The all-around winner, Allison Buckley from Illinois. A reminder, our next women's gymnastics show live at 6:30 p.m. Eastern, February 25th. The Fighting Illini travel to Michigan to face the Spartans at Michigan State. For Elise Ray, I'm Mike Liederman. So long from Champaign.